it working?
Yeah.
The strings were there.
Just a second. Can you type the .ly live ISIQ stream?
Sure. The bit.ly.
Hey everyone, can you guys hear us? Yeah? Awesome, perfect. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be starting in about 2 to 5 minutes, yeah? Till then, you guys can go on this link. I hope you can see the link over here. You guys can go on this link and download this. Hello everyone, I hope you guys can hear me. Yeah? All right, perfect. So thank you so much for joining us here for the call. I'm Nakul Jain. I'm here with...
Hey guys, my name is David. Most of you already know me. I'm the MCPTM for the next term. It's a pleasure to be here in this call with you.
Yes, it's his first call with me and for TM. So he's super, super excited for this. And so am I. Well, I hope you guys have already downloaded the file. Yeah. I hope all of you have. If you haven't, it's fine. We'll be projecting this and also you'll be given the file later as well. Yeah. So most of you do know why you are here. The reason why you guys are here is because you want to know how to lead a high-performing team. Yeah. And in order for you to know how to lead a high-performing team, well, you need to have a high-performing team. Yeah. It is very simple. You need to create a team which is efficient, effective, which is agile, entrepreneurial, and which is high performing. And the one who would be creating that is you, team leaders, and you, vice president. So you might ask yourself, well, how does one have a high performing team? Because most of you, well, all of you do have a team and you have been putting in a lot of effort towards them and ensuring that they achieve the results and goals that are required. But then again, you keep asking yourself over and over again, how do you have a high-performing team? And well, there's just one very simple answer to this. Team standards. All of you have heard about it. All of you know. Most of you are probably looking at the screen and have a sad smile on your face because you might be thinking this call is going to be about these beautiful things. Maybe you might be thinking, oh no, this was a trap by the MC to teach us what to do when it comes to team standards. I can see Sahiti smiling there because probably she's thinking about the same thing. But this call is not to train you about team standards. We have already done that. It is March right now. We are almost done with March. And by now you should know what team standards are. You should know every single thing about it. And I'm sure you guys are already implementing that. But what this call is about is that me and David wanted to have a small discussion about the day-to-day situations that we as team leaders, we as vice presidents face, the day-to-day problems, issues, or struggles that we have on a daily basis, and to really see how we can have a simple conversation and just to have small discussions to see what kind of solutions we can come up with. So what we'll do here is we are going to act out as we are team leaders or vice presidents, me and David, and we'll have small conversations and talk about small situations that we face. And let us see what kind of answers that we actually come about. So just a reminder to all of you again, I'll give you a minute. Go ahead and download this file here. It is the same file that I'm using currently, so that when we are talking, in case we are not audible, you can get all the information on the file itself. Yeah. So I'll give you a minute for the ones who have joined us right now to go on this link and to download this file. All right, I hope all of you, or at least most of you, have downloaded this. We'll go ahead with the call now.
Okay. Well, Nakul, one of the problems that I have right now with my team is that my team does not bond with each other. I don't know what is happening, but they don't understand each other. They don't care about each other. I want to know how to really bond my team.
Well, David, it's very simple. It all boils down to team forming. The most important step, I would say. Well, you might be thinking, why is team forming even important in the first place? Why cannot you just start away with work? Well, it is a bad idea if you start away with work from the word go, because well, what team forming does, it leads to cohesiveness between members and team leaders, and it helps you to form this environment where people get to know each other better, and there's a lot of more human connection. Because you need to understand, David, that when a group of individuals meet for the first time in a team, they do not understand the ISEC culture, and they do not really understand why are they given work in the first place. So it is really, really important. How do you start forming a team? And I don't know if you know Dados, but he once said that placing people in the right position, focusing on their strengths, and placing your best people where your best opportunities are is what is important. And that is why team forming is much more important than anything else. And also, you need to know that your first meeting cannot be all about work. So think about this. Think about what you did in your first meeting, where you straight away, ordering things, or straight away telling them to do certain objectives. Maybe your first team meeting can also be just in a coffee shop. And think about how small things like these will make a big difference, because the power of human connection is very, very strong.
Okay, that's really nice. That's really nice, and I already understand like how important it is to have a bond team, but I don't really know how to make the people bond with each other. Like that's the really problem that I have.
All right, I get that a lot. I get that a lot. When I tell them you need to have strong bonding, people ask me, well, you can just say you need to have strong bonding, but how do I actually do that in the first place? Well, it is super simple. You need to first ask yourself these questions. Very simple question. What is the purpose of your team? What is your individual contribution to the team purpose? What is expected from you as a leader? What should you expect from others? What do you know about your members? Well, do your members even know each other? And does everyone know how to work with each other? These are questions. Use them as a checklist. Ask yourself these and know whether you know the answer to these questions. Because once you do, then and then only can you go ahead with building your team. There's another thing where you cannot look for a particular strategy of team building. You need to figure it out. You need to figure out how exactly do you start building your team in a positive manner, because every single team has people with different characteristics, and it is up to you how you take their characteristics and personalities and the kind of activities you do so that they start bonding with each other. Instead, the importance of team building that it simply helps build a bond between team members, and it delivers the importance of working together as a team, which is important for effective functioning of the department. There was one of my friend, Jyotsna, I remember, from India. She told me that the first team meeting that she conducted was nothing related to work, because she wanted her team to connect on a personal level first. And that is why she had it at a coffee shop, like I mentioned before. So there isn't a team building activity that I can give you which would be suited for your team, but you can always look in Google. Google is your best friend, David. And look in Google team building activities and you'll find millions of results. But there's no one activity that I can suggest you, because once I do that, probably someone else might end up using it who might not even need that kind of an activity for their team. So be really careful on how you understand your team and the kind of activities you use. But also it is really important that you do not ignore this phase of team building. And also one more thing, that before we move ahead, you need to know that you cannot just have a team building activity on your first few weeks or so and then forget it, because teams tend to burn out. After working over time, after a course of 1 month or 2 months, they start burning out, and you need to go ahead and have another activity, and it really helps them refresh.
Okay, thank you so much, Nakul. Are you facing any problem right now that I can help you with?
Yes, actually there are a lot of problems I'm facing as well. The biggest problem is that I have problems holding team meetings. I do not understand, or I don't know how to hold team meetings in the first place. Could you help me with that?
Okay, the first thing that we have to say about team meetings is why it's important to have team meetings. The first thing is that we already have like this first meeting with all the bonding and all that kind of stuff. But the important thing about team meetings is that these meetings ensure the strong communication, and you can bring into the table the right focus and the right direction that you need as VP, as team leader, to set to your team. That is the most important thing. And is that a team meeting is the place or the moment when you have all your team and you can set the direction where you want to go. And also of course, is the most efficient way to communicate your goals or your strategies with all your members. So that's why it's so important to have team meetings. And for me, it's something that is really mandatory. And you need to have team meetings every week to know what is happening with your team. And also, like, as you were telling, and as I understand, it's also really important to have team meetings, because then you can connect with the other people. Then you can connect with your members. Then you can understand what they are feeling right now, and start to have like that kind of personal level connection that is going to enable you to lead them, and to have that kind of team activities that I'm going to guide them to really have the results that your team wants. So that's why it's important. For me, it's a place when you can set the directions, and also the place where you can connect with your members. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, okay, I already understand why it's important to have team meetings, but how do I really know that I know how to handle a team meeting? The first thing is that you have to ask to yourself if your team meeting have a real purpose. And if that meeting don't have a real purpose, don't do it. Like in ISEC, it's really common that we have team meetings just for having team meetings. If you don't have a real purpose for every specific team meeting, it's better to don't do that. But it's essential also to know that you need to have team meetings every week. So you need to find, according to your performance and according to the things that you are doing, that you need to schedule every single team meeting with a specific purpose. The purpose of a team meeting is not just the team meeting. The purpose of a team meeting is that is a place where you can set the direction that you want for that week. The second thing is every team meeting needs an agenda. So ask to yourself before every team meeting that you have with your team, do I have an agenda? And if you don't have an agenda, build one. And who will the person that will help me and is going to be the person that is going to time it and ensure that we are going to spend the right amount of money or the right amount of time in every single thing that we are going to discuss. So that is the second thing. If you don't have agenda for your team meetings, please do it before the team meeting. The third thing, can any of the content be done virtually? That is a really important question. but it's a double sense question. There is some people that just use virtual channels to ensure that you are giving the right information. But for sure, have the meetings is a more powerful space. But there is some information that is not that important that you have to show it in a physical meeting, that you can always release it in a virtual way. So really ask this question to yourself, and can any of the content be done virtually before the meeting? Okay. The next question that you have to ask is, will it go over 90 minutes, and why? Why you have to say this question is because any meeting have to go over 90 minutes. At least that you have a reasonable why for that. In 90 minutes, you have enough time to cover the tracking of your team, the education of your team, and all the things that you need to have in one team meeting. And the next thing is, okay, I already have my agenda. I go through my agenda. It's less than 90 minutes, but how will we allocate responsibilities? And this is something that is really important, and is that in some meetings we talk a lot, we have really good strategies, but nobody set the responsibilities for the people. And that's your role as team leader. And it's understand that if you are talking about something and you are saying that something is going to happen during the week, that things have to be allocated to someone in some place. And we're going to talk about that later, but it's really important to know that someone have to allocate the responsibilities for every single one of the members. And the last question that you need to ask to yourself is, can this be a standing meeting? And that's all. Go through these questions every single time that you think that is going to be necessary to have a meeting, and I'm totally sure that you are going to understand how to handle it, Nakul.
Wow. Okay, this helped me a lot, and I'm really excited to set up a really strong meeting up next. Well, there was this another question that I had is, my members have no idea. They literally have no idea what their contribution and growth in ISEC is. They're working hard, they're working towards certain tasks that I've given them, but they have no direction towards their contribution and growth, and that is why they feel that they're just being, I don't know, they're just being used in ISEC, or they're just getting nothing out of ISEC. So could you please help me with this?
Okay, I think that the most simple solution for that kind of problem is to have monthly reviews. This is something that not all the teams do, but for me it's super important to have monthly reviews. Why? The first thing is that this is the place when you can really know where is your team, and really have in that place you can really identify the key lacking and loopholes with two specific strategies. The first strategy is to evaluate the performance of your members, and also the general performance of your area. In the second space, and probably the most important space of a monthly review, is that you can take feedback as team leader, and you can ask them openly what do they think about the current strategies, and how can we improve as a team that strategies, and how can you improve yourself as a team leader. So this is really important, and is to open really transparent feedback spaces where the members are going to be free to say what they feel in that specific moment. But the important thing is to how do I run a monthly review? It's really simple. I'm going to give you 4 things that you need to have in every single monthly team review. The first thing, it's all about the numbers. Numbers are impact. Numbers are peace and fulfillment of humankind potential. So you start with the numbers that you have, and you end with the numbers that you have and the goals that you have. That is the most important thing. Why? Because they need to know where they are and where they are as a team. The second thing is you have to ask them, are we there yet? We're ready to achieve our goal? Is enough for us to achieve this kind of or this amount of exchanges or specific things about TM or finance that this is making us achieve our goal? That's the second thing. And this is an open space. So if you think that you are performing and that everything is going fine, but your members don't think that, It's because something is happening. That's why you have to ask them. The third thing is something that we are going to talk about later, but this is really important. Don't change your goal. Your goal is your objective. And if your goal is your dream and is something that you have or have to achieve. But something that you can change is the way that you're approaching your goal, and is your strategy, your plan for doing that. So you can discuss with your members what kind of strategies they want to improve and what kind of strategies that they want to have to really achieve that goal, but don't change the goal. And the last thing is, as I told you, this is a really important space for feedback. So let the team, not just you, let the team bring up issues that need to be discussed. This is really important because it's the perfect place where you as team leader can understand what they are feeling as a team. So you can have one-to-ones and know how the people is feeling about every single personal experience, but you also need to know how is the team feeling as a team itself. So open a space inside the monthly review to talk about the issues that the members think that have to be discussed. And with that, you're going to have the most amazing monthly review.
Wow, that is really, really helpful. Now, I was just wondering, you helped me a lot with all of these doubts that I had. Now, here's one thing. Is there anything else that I can help you with?
Okay, I already have a lot of team meetings, and I also already have a lot of, I have my monthly closing review, but something that I'm seeing is that my plan does not work. I don't really know what is happening because I think that is a great plan, but it's simple. My plan is not working. What can I do for that?
Okay, this used to happen to me a lot, and it is pretty normal actually if your plan isn't working, but you need to understand that how do you build ownership in your team? Now, this is something I can just tell you, go ahead, David, and build ownership, and you'll be wondering, well, how do I do that? Well, it happens when you actually with your team. It happens when you sit with your team and discuss a plan with them, because it is not your responsibility alone as a team leader to fulfill the plan. You need to have a plan where the entire team contributes. And that is why it is so important to build that ownership. Now, the question is, how will you build ownership of the plan for your team? It is, again, with have one-on-ones, talk to them, see if they understand their job description, see if they understand where they play a role in the plan. And if you notice, planning comes only after they understand the why of ISEC and they understand why they are in this particular function. Because only when they connect to that will they contribute to the creation of plan. And once you involve them in the creation of plan, they understand what is the reason behind these numbers. And why is it that they are being asked to do these particular tasks? Yeah. Is there anything else maybe I can help you with?
Yeah, but I was talking with my members, and some of them think that 10 OGV exchanges is so hard that they don't even know if we can achieve 10 OGV exchanges. So I was thinking, what about if I change my goal to 5 or 6? It's something that I think that they could probably do, and I will be good with that. But I don't know if that is something good for the team.
Okay, this is a rookie mistake, which happens with every other team leader or vice president when they see that they are not getting closer to achieving their plans, and they start thinking that their goals are what have been set wrong and not their strategies. Now, you need to understand here that the reason you have been asked, or the reason you plan to do 10 OGV, is because there is your LC market which has been taken into consideration. That is the capacity of your LC right now, and because of the past performance that have been taken into consideration, and that is where the number has come into place. We did not magically come into a decision of, say, doing 10 OGV exchanges. So the problem is not with the goal. The problem is never going to be with the goal, because goals are made with simple facts and looking into the past data. Now, where do we usually go wrong is in the strategies we use. And that is why you need to know that plans should be dynamic, but goals shouldn't. which simply means that the nature of the plan should be that you can quickly make small changes in them, and you can change strategies as and when you see what's working and not, but you should never change your goal. And when I say you can change these small strategies, I do not mean you need to have a 10-hour meeting, or you don't need to sit with your entire team and start replanning. It can be small changes. And that is why replanning is so easy. Like it's mentioned here, as you can see in your screen, that replanning does not need to always be a formal quarterly replanning process. It can be as simple as changing your members' weekly task or weekly timetable. As simple as that. And then you'll see that you're moving closer to the goal. So never think that the goal is too big and you need to change that, but always see if your strategies make sense and what are the changes you need to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So I'm not going to change my goal at all. I'm going to stay with my goal and I will achieve it. But something that I'm really having problems with is that, okay, I have my general plan, but my members don't understand what they have to do. They don't understand what is their role inside that plan. So I don't know how to solve that problem.
Okay, so yeah, this is something which, like I said again, is faced by a lot of VPs, and it simply boils down to how strong your job description is that you have created with your members, and how you need to know that job description is literally everything. It is the heart and soul of reaching your goal. Ask yourself these questions. Use this as a checklist. Ask yourself, do you understand your own job descriptions that you have created? Do your members have a job description? Well, do your members understand their job description that you have given them or created with them? And did your members help in the process of creating job description? Now, I want to stress upon this fourth question a lot, is because a lot of times as team leaders, we have this false understanding or belief that only we are capable of creating job descriptions. A member is too young or too new in our organization to create his or her own job description, because maybe the member does not even understand what OGV or IGV or IGT or any of the functions do. So how can I even let a member create his or her job description? But this is where we go wrong. If the member does not understand their function or is not being inducted, then you cannot expect them to perform the job description you give them. You need to sit with them. You need to understand and analyze their strengths. You need to understand what are those areas they are really good at. Example, if sales is one of their strong areas, then you need to see how you can use creation of job description as an opportunity to give them those tasks which they are really good at. And that is when they understand that, okay, I'm being played on my strengths over my weaknesses, which is what we should be doing. And they'll start getting better at that. Do not promote this idea of making everyone's weaknesses good and not looking at their strengths, because you always need to see how what your members' strengths are, and you need to create your job descriptions around it. Yeah. And finally, you need to understand if the job description is clear enough. Yeah. If it has an objective to it, if it leads to your goal, all of it. You need to keep asking yourself these questions, and only then will you be able to create a strong job description, and only then will your members know what to do and they won't be lost. Yeah.
Okay, that's perfect.
All right. So all of this is fine, but while talking to you, I just realized something, that my team does not know how to perform their job description. Though I have given them a job description, I have done the first important half of it, but then they simply do not know how to perform it. They are lost. They don't know what to do. Could you help me with that, David?
Okay, the answer is really simple, and it's something that I know that you already know, Nakul, and it's training. For me, one of the most impactful quotes that someone told me inside ISEC was the MCVP OGV of Colombia in 2013, 2014. He told me, keep your leadership to your members and keep your members to your customers. Your first priority is always going to be your members. And if your members are fine, if you are training your members in the right kind of things, they are going to perform. So the first thing that you have to understand about an educational cycles is that you can break down that educational cycle into three things that you need to know as team leader. what kind of knowledge they need to have to really perform in the function that they have to achieve the JD. The second, according to the JD also, what kind of skills my members need to really achieve and perform in the function. And the third thing is the attitude. That is something that is really important, and for me in particular is really, really important, is what are the kind of attitudes that my team need to achieve their goals. And of course, these have to be based on the operational cycle. And this is going to enable to fulfill the job description of the people. So when you create your educational cycle for your team, and every single team needs a different educational cycle, because it's not the same educational cycle that you have as a member of IGT, that the functional educational cycle that you have inside OGV. So you as team leader have to think, what are the kind of knowledge, skill, and attitudes that my members need in a specific time.
All right, then, that is really, really helpful. But then again, I keep thinking, you have given me all of this information, but me as a team leader, I'm not skilled enough, I feel at times. And that is why I feel, how do I really train myself?
Okay, so I love something, and is when you don't know something, you figure it out. That is the simple question when you don't have enough information for achieve your goal or for train your team. So how you figure it out when you need to train your team and you don't know how to do it? The first thing, talk with the previous VPs and talk with the previous people that already know how to run these kind of cycles, with other VPs inside your network that can help you with this. The second thing, Google is your best friend. Go to Harvard Business Review, go to Forbes, go to different educational sites when you can really find the information that you want. Something that is really interesting about IESEC is that you just not have Harvard Business Review or Forbes. You also have the most amazing resource that you are going to have for education, and is the IESEC US Hub. There you are going to have like all the information that you need and all the information that your members need to know, like to really achieve the goals. And if you are missing any information, then go to the IESEC International Hub, and you are going to find all the information that you need there. Keep that links always open on your computer. If you have any doubt, I'm totally sure that the answer is going to be there. The second thing, talk with your LCP, talk with your MC, with your MCVP, talk with the EB about that kind of knowledge that you want to gain. And I'm totally sure that they are going to guide you to that kind of information, and they're going to give you the best resources to really understand how to train your team. The next thing, and this is super important, and is the best way to understand how to train, go to national or international conferences. Regional, national, and international conferences. Because that is the place where you are going to have the fresh information. Literally, you are going to understand what is happening right now with the market, what is happening right now inside the organization, and you are going to be able to deliver that kind of content to your members. The next thing is there is a bunch of online courses where you can involve yourself and start to really understand how to train a member in something specific. For example, for IGT, you really need to understand how a sales development program works. How is the best way that we are using right now as millennials to sell our products? And there is a bunch of online courses that can help you with that. And the last recommendation that I have to train yourself is ask your VP or your LCP or your MCVP or someone that you know or the other VPs inside the network, ask to them about books to read, recommended books, because all the information and maybe the answer that you are looking for is in like a special and really useful books, like for example The Tipping Point, From Good to Great, The Purple Cow, that really engage in really clear management books when you can find like the clear solution for the training of your team.
All right. this is really helpful. I will make sure that I actually follow all of these. Now, there's another thing that I was wondering. I don't really know, or I don't really understand what kind of education my member need, because I know they need certain training and education, but I simply do not understand what education my member needs. So can you help me with that?
Yeah, and it's the same thing. We have to come back to the basics when you are talking about training, and it's go back to the JD and see where the competencies required, where the skills that they know that they need, and the knowledge that they need to really fulfill the JD. And also you have to analyze if that information is going to help you to achieve the goal. So always when you want to know what are the kind of educational cycle that you want to provide to your team, go back to the JDs, see the JDs, and understand what kind of information they need for every single specific moment of your term. And remember, it's about 3 specific things that you need to know about the JD. What kind of skills the people need for fulfill the JD, what kind of knowledge they need to fulfill the JD and the goals, and the third one, what kind of attitude they need to have to really be a high performance team.
Well, okay. So what I understand by this is that you just told me to have education cycle, right? And just by listening to this, it's a little scary because I don't even understand what an education cycle means. So how do I create an education cycle? Could you help me? I don't know, give me some steps maybe to have a good, strong education cycle for my team.
Okay, I have the steps.
Thank God.
It's like simple, like 3 really simple steps.
I'm glad you're my success.
Okay, 3 really simple steps. The 3 steps for create a real educational cycle. The first step, education plan must be based on the team plan. So it's really simple. You have your plan as area or as team. Go to your plan and understand how your plan works. A really simple example. When you are, for example, on March Madness, and you need to get that approvals, you don't need to educate your members in value delivery. It's not the priority. You can educate them about that, but it's not the priority. The educational cycle needs to be really aligned with what you want to achieve in every specific moment of your term. So go back to your plan and analyze what kind of knowledge, skills, and attitude need your team in every single month of the experience. The second thing is that the plan here can change and have to be dynamic and have to be really flexible. Why? Because probably that information that you think that they need is not the correct one. So something that is really is something that you have to develop as team leader is the sensing, and is that ability to see what is happening inside the team and what they are feeling about the kind of education that you are giving to them. So for example, if they are feeling that that information is really nice but is not useful for the achievement of the goal, you have to change it. And that's why it's important to go through the feedback and really analyze what kind of education and tracking they need to really achieve their goals. Like the information that you need to know is inside your team. So go and ask them. And the last thing is ensure that the plan has an output. Every single educational plan needs to have an output. Every single educational cycle, every single educational session needs to have an output. So the first thing that you have to ask when you are creating, when you already know that you have a plan according to your functional plan, and you understand how your members are feeling, you are going to start to create this plan. And the first thing is, what are the outputs? It means what are going to be the short-term results that I'm going to achieve, that we are going to achieve as a team after this educational cycle. And these outputs, how they are going to help me with the outcomes, with that long-term results, with that long-term goals that I have as a team. And and the best way to measure it is with achievement. That is really simple. You know that you are doing a good training, that you know that you have a real good educational cycle when your team start to perform. The second thing, how will you deliver the training? Simple. Go to the ISEC US Hub, go to the ISEC International Hub, and really understand what are the global learning environments. Because like your educational cycles don't need to be all the time like inside a classroom and start to talk and just talk with them about the things that you think that is necessary for them to develop. You have another different kind of spaces that you can use and that can be also really useful and powerful for your members. The next thing is the first thing that I told you, and you need to analyze that your operational timeline is the base of your educational cycle. That is one of the most important things about an educational cycle, and is that your team needs to be ready for every single operational peak that you have. And yes, TM and finance, you have operational peaks. You need to understand what are the operational peaks of the strategic areas of ISEC. For example, if you're going to have 14 payments in 1 month, and in the next month you are going to have 50 payments, you need to understand that your peak and the education about payments is going to be for the next month, not for this, because you can handle the first thing. Or for TM, if your members need to understand what are the team standards, that is going to be the first thing and needs to be according to the operational timeline. And your plan, of course, have to reflect all the answers of these questions that I gave to you like in the past 5 minutes. Hope that it helps to create your plan.
Wow, it does. So I was just wondering, is there any last questions that you might have also?
Okay, for me, it's really important 2 things about your educational plan. Your educational plan is something that really connect everything. And so I just have 3 recommendations. When you are giving your educational cycle, the first thing, if you are checking your results and you see that the results are not going, you can't change your educational plan. And if your plan A don't works, remember that the alphabet have another 25 letters. Go search more, become a better leader, and train them in the right things that they need. The second thing is always check your operational timeline and understand how that works. And the last thing is become passionate about training your team. They are your biggest result as team leader, because you are that, like, those are the persons that are being developed. So be passionate about that and really understand the flow of your educational cycle. And I have a last question for you, Nicole, because I have a good educational cycle, but something that is really happening is that I have my plan, I have my educational cycle, but right now, in March, my team is underperforming. We are not achieving the goal, and that really pissed me off. Do you have some recommendation for that?
Okay, it is very, very simple. And it is actually a very ancient technique or formula to make sure that teams perform. Yeah, it is actually very, very holy, I would say. And it's called tracking.
Wow! What is that?
Well, let's see what it is. Everyone knows what tracking is. Everyone knows that. Everyone secretly knows that it is a secret to performance, but still they keep it a secret. And that is what I want you to do. Not keep it a secret anymore, and ask yourself some very simple questions. That do I, David, have a tracking system?
Well, I have the national tracking system, but I don't know how to use it.
Well, then the next question you ask is, if I have a tracking system, do I understand my tracking system, what it does? And is it simple enough for my members to understand? Because there's no point of having a tracking system, David, if your members cannot understand how to use it, and if you yourself don't know how to use it. Because I remember when I first joined ISEC and I was a team leader, and I saw these crazy tracking systems which felt like rocket science, but it felt cool to use them, though I did not understand them, because I could show off that, hey, there's this big tracker that I'm using. Yeah. And though they were so difficult for me to understand, I kept using them, and my members never understood them. And because of that, I couldn't track them because I was scared to go back to it again and again. But what I did was later on, I started understanding them more. I started taking time off to really understand the kind of tracking everyone is using. I started talking to my LCP, I started talking to my EB members because they were using the tracking system very easily, and I was the only one who wasn't able to. So slowly but surely, I started understanding how to better have a good tracking mechanism. And then what I could do is I could see what my every member is doing, where they are, and when are they actually performing, because it is really important that a tracking system shows what every single member is doing and when they are performing, because without which there's no point having one. And well, that's it. It is as simple as that. Do not complicate things. But if you feel that you do not understand something, do not just, you know, go away from it, or just try understanding and talking to people, because there are resources everywhere. And all it takes is a small conversation like the one we had, because I'm sure that I at least learned so much from this small conversation that we have been having from 40 minutes because of you. And that is what it takes, just having these small conversations, because I realized in ISEC that the problems that I'm facing are the exact problems that someone has already faced before, and tackle them and overcome. But all I have to do is bring up those problems out in the open so that I can discuss about them openly. And it does not need to be an ISEC international member or a MC member who has a solution to those problems. It can also be my new member who has a simple solution to these problems. And it is always okay to be vulnerable and to embrace that vulnerability and bring out these problems in a EBM maybe, or maybe in a team meeting. You can maybe ask your members, hey, I was thinking, what is what kind of reporting would you guys be comfortable with? Also, small questions like this will make a huge difference. And I hope all of you listening to us do have these questions. Talk to your EB members after this call. Make sure that everyone, all the team leaders in your LC or every VP actually goes through this video and has conversations with you, so that you can understand more as to how can you really convert your team into a high performing team. Because if your team isn't achieving the goals, that does not mean that the goal you have set is wrong. It simply means that you are not able to get the best out of your members, and it means that the strategies that you're using aren't the best. And the only way that you can do is that by following team standards. And if you notice, everything we just spoke about are bits and pieces from team standards. There was nothing different that we spoke about, me and David. There were problems and situations that we were facing every other day about performing, bonding, tracking, simple things that so many of you face. And I face as well. Even now, handling a team, I face these problems. But I know that when I look back at team standards and when I have conversations, I get answers to them. So that is what we want for you to do. And once you actually start doing this, we know that you will be ready for summer peak. Yeah, this bull is the summer peak, and you'll be ready for it. And you will have the best, the most high performing team, and we are sure that you'll achieve all your goals. So that's.
Do you have a final recommendation for them?
Well, my only and the only recommendation would be to really look into team standards, research more and more about team standards. If you have any doubts, give a call to me, give a call to David, give a call to any team leader out there, and they will help you with a solution. If you think I'm busy or David is busy, trust us, we are not the only experts in ISEC US. Every team leader, every vice president is an expert in their own field, and they can help you. So look into team standards, and yeah, we wish you all the very best for summer peak. We know you're going to have the best teams possible, and we cannot wait for you to come to EBCO. You'll be seeing David and me. Is there anything you want to say, David?
Yeah, guys, I have two final recommendations. The first recommendation is something that Nakul already said, and sometimes you don't need to have all the answers. You need to make the right questions. That is really important in your ISEC experience. You're like, ISEC is a platform that allows you to learn every single day. Even if you are MCP, even if you are MCPP, you are learning every single day. So sometimes it's not about having the right question. Sometimes it's not about having the right answer. Sometimes it's having the right question every single day. And the second thing is, remember, guys, if you want to have a high performance team, keep your leadership, keep your time, keep your effort to your members, deliver team standards, and I'm completely sure that you're going to face Summer Peak as that guy is facing that goal.
All right, then. Thank you so much for your time. A reminder again, you can download this file at bit.ly/high performing team, and you'll find the recording of this video at bit.ly/live ICQS team. Yeah. So thank you so much. I'll be sending you guys a follow-up mail with the recording and with this file attached to it. And have a great week. Have an amazing productive week, because next week is going to be insane because it is EBCO.
Woo!
And we are so excited to see you guys there. Bye-bye and take care. Good night.
Good night, guys.